Oh yeah, that's right. The sea elemental, the big one too. It's quite impressive, I have to say. I like the dragon face quite a bit, and the fact that it's kind of like all watery and whooshy. Anyway, today I'm here once again against HDS, and we've got another replay for you. This time, I've taken the Beastmen as they get a bunch of new toys in this DLC, as always. Creative Assembly's most loved faction, you could say. And then the High Elves here with some new things as well. The Sea Elemental is one. Let's start with him. Massive melee defense. This guy is a tank. Perfect vigor, 70 melee defense, 0 armor, but 30% physical resistance, 20% missile resistance, and he's water, 20% fire resistance. Yeah, Chaos Dwarfs are gonna have a very bad time with this thing, I think, trying to shoot it at least. Yeah, and then once it gets low enough, it summons another unit of the Monstrous Infantry, Oceanids. Yeah, decent weapon strength. It's got pretty good animations as well, decent speed and leadership, and also has this bound writhing mists. So, quite strong, quite tanky. Today it's going to be healed by Techless. We've also got Caradryan, the Phoenix Guard hero. He's actually pretty decent in that he has a heal, which is always nice. Specifically, it's an infantry-only heal, which is just great. Super thematic, makes him, you know, commanding a unit of Phoenix Guard, like, pretty decent as well, and my opponent, HDS, here did bring the Keepers of the Flame, Regiment of Renown, Phoenix Guard for him to lead. We've also got the new Regiment of Renown, Blades of Hoeth. Got very cool capes. Rider of Rohan, no doubt, is very happy. They look amazing. And then I think that's it. Oh yeah, the ship's company, Sea Company. They're High Elf Swordsmen, low tier, very cheap. Not the best stats in the world, but, you know, they're like Empire Swordsmen, essentially, but Elves. So that's nice to get another low-tier unit, especially for a unit that's, a faction that's historically been very expensive. And then one of the most dreaded units of all, the Lothern Skycutter. Yeah, this is going to be a tricky unit to balance and address, but we'll talk more about that probably in a dedicated video. We'll see. Malagor the Dark Omen here for me, and then we've got the two new monsters. I've talked about the Chimera in the last video, but my thoughts are it's very good. Good breath attack, immune to flanking, poison, magic, fire damage. The Regiment of Renown has this ability where you can land it and then go heal and hide, which is really nice. Gives them a little bit of self-healing. The Praeton is an anti-large flying monster that's going to Slaanesh, and then also available for Beastmen and Warriors of Chaos. I believe the Chimera is also available for Warriors of Chaos, at least for now. That might change. Yeah, it has Frenzy, a little bit of anti-large, poison, decent-ish armor, but pretty low melee defense, and it's more expensive than the Chimera base costs, at least. Yeah, it has this thing which gives it a buff if stuff's broken within its range, which would be nice, but pursuits in Total War Warhammer are a little bit janky sometimes. The rest of the build here, I've got some Ungor Spearman herd up front. We've got the new Slangors, the most beautiful gores, I have to say. I talked a little bit about this yesterday as well. The hairstyles in this DLC. Look at the hair on that goat. Look at the hair on that beast, man. He is absolutely styling. Look at that little ponytail and everything. Man, they definitely are Slaanesh bros. They came well-groomed. Probably the nicest smelling Beastman unit, I would have to hazard a guess. Let's get things rolling, though, once again, before we get too distracted on what Beastmen smell like. And watch me get baited into his Phoenix Guard by trying to charge Lothern Sea Cutters as he dives them to the ground. Yep, this is going to happen a few times here. But at least, hopefully, we're going to be able to get some damage and disengage cleanly in the meantime. Both monsters on the move, getting back up in the sky. Pretty clean there. We were able to execute decently well. Meanwhile, over here, we've got Slangors charging in. Their high charge bonus and high speed makes them ideal rush units, and also going to be great for chasing down skirmishers. They'll be great in domination as well, because their speed is honestly ridiculous, especially once they start taking damage. They get even faster, so they can truly just run wherever you need them to. at least from an infantry perspective. Yeah, Blades of Hoeth, I'm going to try and kite them back a little bit with the Ungor Spears, but my Ungor Raiders getting hosed down by Lothern Sea Guard, slowly but surely. Throwing a little bit of Flock of Doom on the Keepers of the Flame there. I believe I had already used the one breath attack. Shoot, yeah, sorry, I forgot to grab it for you guys, but the damage done to the Phoenix Guard, you can see them right there. That was all from the Chimera's breath attack. I'm actually going to run him back and try and pop that passive heal. Probably didn't need to run that far away, but that's okay. Following up on the rush here. Gonna get these Slangors moving through once again. Rear charge the Lothern Sea Guard. Just cut them down in droves. Try and bog down this unit of Phoenix Guard as well. Unfortunately for me, it is Keepers of the Flame, which means as they die, they also explode and deal damage, which is going to be not ideal for the Slangors, even if as they get rear charged here by the Sea Elemental, who having to kind of just ignore for the time being. You know, in retrospect, I maybe should have been, rather than like going so hard after the Sky Cutters, because their range damage is annoying, but it's honestly not like unmanageable. Maybe I should have been prioritizing all my single entities and try to jump the Sea Elemental in that massive 70 melee defense with their charge bonus, but we'll see. Looks like we're going to get a heal. That breath attack you saw come in actually didn't get the best contact because my my Chimera was getting staggered by the Lothern Sea Guard shooting. Ungor Spearman heard just a hair late to interrupt that from happening. Interrupt the interrupt, yes. So, yeah, that breath attack wasn't great, and unfortunately it did use my breath attack charge, which is not ideal. I think I'm only down to 1 now. Yeah, so something that can happen. The Praeton, though, with his devastating flanker, still has yet to get a decent engagement, and Malagor gets caught on the ground here. That writhing miss on him, and just gets flopped by Caradryan. So let's get out of here, Foul Beast. Very appropriately done. But, yeah, right now things are not looking great, but I'm going to remember, you know, I've forgotten until now that there's these 2 Centaur's great weapons. Yeah, tactical reserve, let's say. It's cost of being a little rusty as I'm coming back to play these games, but still having a great time. Gonna charge on in, try and take out these last 2 Lothern Sea Guard. Just do whatever I can to take out his support units, then hope I have enough at the end to just cycle charge the Sea Elemental, but unfortunately for me, the Praeton anti-large is not great. I will say it looks like the Praeton's skeleton was branched off from the Wyvern, which is unfortunate. Historically, the Wyvern's animations were not great, whereas the Chimera seems like was based off of the Manticore, which its animations are incredible. So that is also going to be another thing that makes, in my opinion, the Chimera a much better option than the Praeton in most situations. The cost, animations, breath attack is also really nice to have, especially for Beastmen. I mean, they didn't even have a flying monster with a breath attack. Now they've got the Cockatrice, which doesn't have a breath attack, but is a flying monster. You've got the Praeton, which is the same. And you've got the Chimera. You've always had the Manticore, I guess, but, yeah, the Sky Cutter's going to charge down, kind of counteract my Sons of Goros a little bit here, chase them away. I'm going to have to use their speed to try and pick a good engagement. I do have some Gors coming back as well. We're going to get them back in the fight as soon as I notice them. But, I mean, all of a sudden I'm feeling okay, even though battlefield situation's not looking great. You know, the Manticore, or the Chimera, only 45 charge bonus, 48 melee defense, but he's got decent weapon strength. The Sea Elemental, at the end of the day, the weapon strength on him is not that great, so figure, like, yeah, if I can just get rid of these Blades of Hoeth and the Keepers of the Flame, that will put me in the right direction. But these single entities, man, Caradryan also, I really don't have a solution for, but I'm gonna give it a go. Blades of Hoeth get charged down. And here we go. Nice breath attack. Gets a huge amount of damage. That's a good contact right there on 2 very elite infantry units. Pretty ideal, honestly. You can see the Keepers of the Flame bursting as they are killed very cinematically by the Manticores. But here comes the Elemental, which is going to cause a slight sound bug as it pops through the earth. Does some decent splash attack damage here, and more importantly, it's just going to give enough presence to kind of force everything away. Teclis also probably still has Winds of Magic left to heal it, or throw some Flocks of Doom my way. Nice Flock of Doom placement there from HDS. It's going to hit all my units, pretty much. Or no, it didn't actually hit the Centaurs. Okay, interesting. But, of course, Elite High Elf Infantry holding on to the bitter end. And me, very foolishly, still trying to finish off the Lothern Skycutters. And we're pretty much able to do it. I mean, they're, you know, without as much support, we're able to just actually catch them and finish them off. Even the Praeton, weakened as it is, can come in and try and get some value left. Kill a couple of unit models, maybe. Malagor counts as infantry, so he gets slapped by the Sea Elemental and goes running back into the sky, understandably so. There's 20 Phoenix Guard left, which is really difficult with about 800 HP. But the Praeton comes in. He's gonna get last attack to finish off the Skycutter. So yeah, Skycutters. I'll be curious to see how like the tournament rules committee, you know, fruit rules, and the different people who do tournament rule sets for even like domination and stuff, often on a host by host basis. But I'll be curious to see how they react to Skycutters if they end up getting banned. Certain factions, it's going to be very painful, but I mean, the range damage, at least for this one, is pretty solid. I mean, it definitely paid for itself by the end. It did maybe get some charge damage as well, and they are kind of chariots. I mean, they're supposed to be like flying chariots, right? So they actually do have decent weapon strength and charge bonus. You can definitely use them aggressively against like skirmishers and other things. So it's a unit that's going to be tricky to balance for sure. I think probably right now they're too cheap, but again, more data needed. Did he just like eat a dude from his water spout? Let's not think about that too hard. Little Flock of Doom there as Caradryan, Teclis, and the 20 remaining Phoenix Guard follow the Elemental here into battle. Majestic. Very cool. A nice like little spray breath attack there. Seems to be quite effective. Centaur is going to charge in, try and provide some extra bodies, and Landing Bug strikes again. The Sea Elemental in particular seems to cause quite bad Landing Bug, although did he just do an attack animation during Landing Bug? Anyway, yeah. I was getting afflicted by Landing Bug also in this game, but honestly, there was a time as well where the Sea Elemental was kind of caught out, you know, separated away from the Phoenix Guard a little bit. Probably should have focused more on the Sea Elemental and less on the Skycutters. Although, I don't know, had I not focused the Skycutters, they could have also just like charged my Ungor Raiders and gotten value in other ways. But yeah, you see I'm having to like manually land the Chimera so that I can run him into combat, which definitely doesn't feel great. So hopefully this Landing Bug gets addressed. It is one of the few things, well, one of a few things I should say, that really hold back Total War Warhammer 3's combat from being as satisfying as Total War Warhammer 1 and 2, I would say. That's, again, a little bit of a topic for another day, but just waxing long as we take a look at the endgame here. Chimera does come in, and on a side charge is actually able to get some solid chunks of damage. Again, I think had I prioritized my unit attack orders a little bit differently, would have given myself a much better chance to win. But credit to HDS here. Does a great job keeping the right units alive, and it ends up being super close. I mean, it comes down to just his single entities. Caradryan also gets some pretty respectable value, I think. He also has this Mark of Asturian, which didn't really come into play. It's probably not a unit ability I would bring. Yeah, if he's below 20% HP, then he gets a pretty strong kind of Mortis AoE drain effect. But yeah, Praeton's going to come around for one last ride and to get immediately killed by the Sea Elemental. Womp. Just gets laid on. Yeah, sorry, Praeton. You're definitely there. And, I mean, it's nice for Slaanesh to get a flying monster as well. Something with anti-large to try and not get air-cheesed quite so much. But Chimera, definitely the highlight for my build. Yeah, I mean, the cost of the ROR, I think, is either 1650, 1750, so that's like right on the money in terms of paying for himself. You know, Centaurs ended up paying for themselves, even though I forgot about them until it was probably too late for them to really do anything tactically useful. The Slangors also ran in, did some really nice anti-infantry damage. I mean, they are definitely a unit that's designed to mow through chaff very quickly, so certain matchups where you want to try and cut through like a lighter front line to get at some squishy skirmishers will be pretty good. This is one matchup where as long as they're not getting shot too much, or like charged directly by enemy heavy cavalry, they can definitely cut through things. I don't know, Beastmen have quite a bit of anti-infantry tools, but something to like, you know, like just mow through spears actually is not something they had a ton of. They did have the dual hand weapon gores, which are decent for that, but these guys are just better in every way. Right now they're maybe a tiny bit overtuned, but they are pretty decent. I've seen battles as well where they don't really do anything and just get killed. But yeah, then for HDS, Caradryan ends up with like 1600 value, which is pretty respectable. Techless, I mean, his sport value is definitely up there. 382 kills, 20,000 damage dealt, only 1800 value. I mean, I say only 1800. This thing costs 1900, so, I mean, purely from a damage point, it pretty much paid for itself, which for a tank, you know, something that's designed to fulfill the tank role, that is to absorb a lot of damage and just be a big problem for your enemy to deal with. Also, you know, the tactical value for him of being able to absorb damage on it, especially there in the late game, but just generally having it be a nuisance. Like, I was just kind of ignoring it, trying to work around it. The Sky Cutter ends up paying for itself as well, which, you know, like I said, tricky unit to balance. Lothern Sea Guard do a nice job. The Swordmasters don't pay for themselves, but the Phoenix Guard definitely do. I think they were the ones who got healed, actually, by Caradryan, and it makes sense. I mean, you're fighting some pretty nasty monsters here, so... yeah, overall takeaways, Chimera is great. The Praeton, let's talk a little bit more about this comparison. So if I go to the Beastmen roster, and I'll also just quickly show you Warriors of Chaos, also get, they'd get the Dreadmaw as well, and they get the Chimera, and they get the Champs of Slaanesh, and the ROR Champs of Slaanesh, and, oh no, they don't get the Praeton. Okay, I misspoke. They do not actually get the Praeton. Okay, interesting. But yeah, Beastmen do get both of the new flying monsters, so it allows for a quick and easy comparison. So yeah, the one of the big things here is the cost, right? Cost efficiency is everything in multiplayer, and the Chimera is significantly less than the Praeton. Now, slightly less stats on the Praeton all the way around. It does have a little bit more HP, but you're really paying a premium for that anti-large bonus, which, I mean, it's only 20, so that actually doesn't even account for the difference in weapon strength. It does mean that the Praeton has better melee attack against relevant targets, but still, for an extra 450 gold, it really doesn't seem like a worthwhile upgrade. It does have some physical resistance, 20%, which is okay. It matters probably less now than it has in the past, but it will matter in some situations. Still, though, only 28 melee defense, and I would argue immune to flanking is just better than having physical resistance. A Chimera also having a breath attack gives it a way to attack enemy skirmishers at a distance, or just enemy infantry in general, like halberds, right? We saw in that replay. So I just think the Chimera overall is a much better monster, even outside of the animation set, which is definitely something to consider as well. Yeah, you've got this ability, which damage reflection isn't as good on single entities as it is on multi-entity units, so it's something that you're kind of paying probably a little bit of value for that isn't really doing a lot for you. On the RORs, we talk about the Regiment of Renown specifically. There is a Regiment of Renown Praeton, which it picks up the ability to hide in the forest. So I guess the idea is you land this thing on the ground and it hides in the forest. It also gets Strider. I think, does the base Praeton also get Strider? No. Okay, so its movement speed on the ground, or you know, won't be reduced by anything, and it can hide in the forest, which is unique. Let's say it's very unique. I don't know if it's good. In fact, I would hazard a guess it's not. 2,000 for something with this low of HP, and no way really to self-heal, and yeah, it's just, I mean, both of these monsters don't have a huge amount of HP, and generally flying monsters don't, for the most part, right? But, yeah, I mean, just really not great for the Praeton, this comparison in particular. fact that the regiment-renowned Chimera 48 melee defense is actually pretty decent for a flying unit, especially with immune to flanking mixed in. So, you know, some considerations there, but for me, the Chimera is definitely a big winner. So hopefully you guys enjoyed that. If you like this sort of content, be sure to like, subscribe, hit that bell notification button. Every time I upload a new video, you'll be notified. Thanks again. We'll see you next time.